Okay, state your name and where we're from. Where you from?
Crystal, I'm from Collinsville. I'm from Collinsville.
What's your name?
Crystal,
How old are you, Miss Crystal?
39,
Where are we located at right now?
Kansas City, Illinois.
What brings you to Granite City?
A friend.
What was the circumstances behind it?
There wasn't any circumstances.
Where did you grow up?
Edwardsville, and kind of all over the place, really.
How was your upbringing? Was it both parents in the home?
No,
Okay, single parent home. How was that?
I was in a foster home for a while.
You have siblings?
Yep.
How many siblings?
Well, it's me and my sister, and then my mom had another baby.
You have any children?
I have 3 girls.
Wow.
They're grown.
Okay.
My
So,
oldest is 32. My oldest is 32 years old.
grandkids?
9.
How does that feel?
It makes me feel like they should be here taking care of Granny. The hell.
Where are they?
One with their kid, with my kids, with their mother, their parents. They better fucking be.
How was your school life growing up? Well, schools that you went to,
My
rather.
hands are sticky. And they are. That's that banana 99. It's sticky. Fuck. What'd you say? This is retarded. See, you said there would be no picture, no nothing like that.
How was it growing?
The price is going up.
How was it going up with school?
You'll be lucky to get an interview with me, and everybody else would be lucky later in life.
What
Growing up, I didn't like school.
Okay.
No, I didn't like school. I didn't like grade school. I didn't want to go to high school.
What school did you go to?
I went to Collinsville High School. I'm a K-Hawk.
Did you graduate?
Fuck no.
Why did you graduate?
I didn't like school. I didn't want to go to high school. It was my fear of seriously, fear of people. Shit, the high school, I didn't want to go. I didn't have no reason to. As long as I knew a quarter and quarter was a half, and a half and a half was a hole, and 3 holes with 3 birds, I was good. I'm serious.
So those measurements, you carried them over into your.
I'm just fucking around.
You carried those measurements over to your adult life. So, at what age
No, I'm
were
just
you?
messing around.
At what age were you introduced to any types of partying or
Oh shit.
extra
Damn, now I'm doing
curricular?
extra. Yeah, you back up. I'm not gonna get you. I'm just gonna get me. Shit. Do I have any tissue? Hell no. I'm sticky and everything. I got some. Damn. That's crazy.
At what point were you introduced to drinking or drugs or?
I'm trying to think. Dang. I paid $3 for these socks in East St. Louis yesterday. When I was introduced to drinking, I drank my first time when I was, I think, like 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I had repercussions behind it. As bad as I felt and hangover that I had, the foster parents told me, the foster mom told me I could stay home. As long as I never did that shit again, and I promised I'd never do it again because I was hungover.
How was your foster mom?
And she was cool. She was cool, but that was the first time. I think that was the second time I ever drank.
Mm-hmm.
And then I never drank after that
Mm-hmm.
for a long time because that was like a wake up, and she let me have that wake up. That was like a wake up of my first time ever drinking. Was a wake up in my life for her, for people around, for the foster mom. It wasn't a wake up for me. I just knew I never wanted to do it again. I wasn't grounded, so and I got to stay home from school.
When did other things come into play?
Weed. I started weed at that's funny. Yeah, you're giggling. It makes me laugh. But they check in the dumpster. Yeah, that's what we do. And anyway, I started smoking weed when I moved to Collinsville. I was like 15.
Mm-hmm.
I was 15. I just smoked weed and went to school because I did end up making high school.
Mm-hmm.
I did have to go to high school, but no matter what. So I started at Collinsville High School in 9th grade, and that was the worst thing in my life. I hated it. That's when the weed started, but then I kind of started a little bit, a couple little shots, but then, alcohol wasn't really my problem. That's my problem, my downfall now. Most of my downfall because when I woke up, I was depressed and I needed a drink. And knowing that shit on AA and everything, it ain't gonna do no good. But weed and I was pregnant, so I didn't get into much of anything. I got pregnant right in high school and married my husband.
How long were you married?
Too long, but long enough to get pregnant again.
How was marriage?
I really don't much remember. I don't much remember. I probably would have still been married. But I know that I pretty much know that it was just my way out of the system. Truthfully, my way out of the system.
Was it a happy marriage or was it just a marriage of convenience?
I don't even really know because I'm still there for him, And people be doing the craziest shit out here.
So you guys still are cordial and still get along?
Oh, absolutely better.
Are you divorced?
Yeah.
When did you get a divorce?
Well, I called him. Excuse me. I called him. We had just talked about this a few months ago. Just about 3 months ago. I called him. And what was your question again? Because I'm all wrapped up with that.
What made you get a divorce?
Well, I don't really know because things are a lot confusing, but I do know this. I do know that I divorced him because I was sick and tired of the running around, and I was always at home, and I had a special baby. I didn't know how special she was going to be, but she's real fucking special, trust me. And I was getting ready to call her, and I thought, well, let me go ahead and, because I'm nervous, my kids, but she was very special. She didn't walk until she was 15. About 15 months old, she wasn't walking, and then she's epileptic. She would go into seizures, and she wasn't quite walking, but she wasn't quite walking at 15 months old, and then she didn't start walking until she was almost 2. But that's because I had to walk behind her with a pillow or either put a helmet on her head. So that did a lot of life-changing events in my life because when I decided that I wanted to keep her, which I wanted to keep her, I mean, I've always, it was never an option of ever getting an abortion because abortions were never an option. I was almost 6 months pregnant. They went to amniocentesis. And I said, hey, if my baby's going to be special, there's nothing I can do about it. I had the choice to find out what it was going to be, but I mean, who knows what it's going to be. So I told him, I said, I'm just going to stay like I am. Don't do the amniocentesis. I don't want any more tests. Just a blood test came back a little bit abnormal. And 30-something years ago, I mean, nobody knows the story but me. It's not in the medical records. I mean, they don't hold that shit like that, But that's one thing that changed my life right there because there was a lot of events going on in my life back then with my ex-husband that definitely drastically changed me. And a lot of stuff I don't know until now. It's fucking crazy. Because he even asked me, he said, well, where did you go when you left me? He asked me this a couple months ago. Because, I mean, you only have one husband. Well, I mean, you probably never will have one, but I mean, even if you do, it won't bother me. I'm just saying. So what was the question?
You pretty much answered it.
But pretty much I never wanted to marry again. And when I left him because I thought there was abuse going on, but then now later that I look at it, I think, man, that was easy as pie. All I had to do was sit the fuck down. He was going to the titty bars, bitch, and he'll come home. But then I did that too, Then I did that too, but then I just decided to knuckle up on his ass and decided when I got of age, I decided I just wanted to be a stripper. So I thought, well, that'll do him real good. That is what you get for going to titty bars all your life.
How was that
I made a lot of money.
Where were you dancing?
I worked at a lot of the clubs. I worked at PT's in Centralville, back in the swingers night. Swingers. You ain't got to do much, and you might not make a lot of money because there's so many people in there if you don't do what you're supposed to do, But I started Main Street in Washington Park, and I was 17. But the only thing I really have to say about a marriage is that's pretty much it. And he wouldn't divorce me. He sure said you had to marry me real quick, but.
So is that the only job you had, as a stripper?
No, I worked all my life. I worked at Aramark. I worked at Clean Uniform. I worked at Motor Mart Corporation. I worked at I mean, Mortimer's pretty big. I mean, they hired me back twice. So did, I mean, if these places, clean uniform, they hired me back twice. Airmark, they hired me back twice. I'm trying to think, gosh, I worked my ass off all night because at 23 or 24, I was out of the clubs because I decided to have another baby by another crackhead dude. But I mean, it's just the way that I feel
So
about
your first husband was on drugs?
No, my husband wasn't on drugs. He was a drug dealer.
Because you said another crackhead dude, so that's why.
Oh, well, then I ended up having, well, I don't know, because I'm kind of way back here,
Okay.
in my mind.
Yes.
So the question is, let's revert back to that.
Your career as a stripper, what are some of the most craziest experiences that you had as a stripper?
Not being able to collect all my money off the stage and be able to climb down off the stage and get all my money. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, if you can't grab everything, no. Anyway, what?
What was it dangerous or like? What was it challenging? Were you scared? What was your first time like as a stripper? Like your first?
It was challenging. If the money wasn't right, it was definitely challenging. I couldn't pay rent and bills and shit.
But I'm saying like your first day, your first night. Like how was that? Describe that.
Well, okay. Well, I'll say my first audition.
Yes.
I got the job at Peachy's in Centralville. My sister took me, and I'd been working at Dottie's Body Shop and different places. Hey, it just depends on where the party's at and where the money's at. But back then, there was a lot of ways to make money. But if you wanted to make a living, it was definitely moment by moment, club by club. But what did you say again? The question.
How long were you a stripper?
Nobody asked me. About 7 years.
What made you stop?
Getting pregnant again after 5 years of Brandy.
Where did you make the most money?
I worked at Hustler too for a minute. Where did I make the most money? Probably Dottie's Body Shop, and she's not even there anymore. But she probably so because she'd always let me come in there, and I was pregnant. But I mean, I'd probably say that probably because she'd let me come in that club anytime as long as I didn't strike no matches and fuck up her red carpet in there, and that's where a lot of people wouldn't even realize because a lot of people know who Dottie is, and Dottie's passed away, but a lot of people know her. And I'll tell you what, Dottie wasn't no joke. She had triple, double, 4XDs, and she loved the shit out of me. And I don't know why, but she always would, because I was pregnant, and she let me come back in that club, in her club. But Dottie was one that people were like, yeah, right, whatever. Man, she was the one that showed me the way. I mean, she did. She like, come back here, and what was his name, Humphrey at Main Street, because I started at Main Street at 17. Back in the day in Washington Park, when Main Street there's only one strip club you never go to. The only reason why I ever knew is my husband. He's the only man you can eat everything you want. Well, I was that one with the white tank top, the white shorts, like fucking what is that place? Hooters or whatever. That kind of outfit. And you had to have the white Reeboks, and you had to have pantyhose. And I was a horrible waitress, and they knew that anyway. They fucking knew exactly what they were doing. I asked Humphrey one day, I said, what can I do to get up there? He said, well, all you have to do is go in the back and the ladies will hook you up. And usually, back then you didn't have a lot of haters that you have now. You have fucking haters. I'm serious. Just like, you just do.
What advice would you give to a young girl who's thinking about getting into stripper?
I'd say go for it. If you got the body, go for it. But just remember, try to retire before 23 or 24 and find something else to do, because for real.
Short lifespan.
Well, the thing of it is when I got out of the clubs, the only reason why I got out of the clubs is because, you always hear people saying, oh, well, I'll get, it's going to get me through college. It's going to pay my college ways. You hear a lot of bartenders say that, and very few did I ever hear one or two women ever say that. Ever. And I wasn't introduced into drugs in the club. Clubs were not where I was introduced into drugs. Like at all period, like in the drug world, that came from.
Where were you introduced to them?
My husband, until years later, I didn't even know, because, he even said a couple months ago, because we're trying to relearn each other, because we don't know each other. I don't even know the world and society. Like, I don't know, like, this around here isn't the same as what it, was back in the day, like last night. I was literally scared last night, just because there were so many gunshots going off last night. Oh my God. I was literally so scared because I don't know the area. Now, if I'd been in East St. Louis, I still would. I'd have been scared, but that's where I have lived for the last 5 or 6 years. And I was literally ducking down like on the steps because I went to the store and I came back, and I was literally ducking down this gunshot. I don't know where I'm going with that, but the gunshots are so fucking bad. And like I said, my house burned. My baby sister was killed back in February and March, and I lived in Edgemont. So I mean, I don't know what the question where we're going with that, but that, you know, that's last night was a very tragic event in my life because I sat outside somewhere like steps like this, and all they did was hear the gunshots, and I was so fucking. I mean, that's why today I'm so like traumatized. I mean, I just walked out with a buddy of mine, and because I went to his house last night, and I don't know where we're going with this, but I'm going somewhere. But anyway, it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter what career you have or what you do. You know, it's just a matter what trauma that a person fails, a person has to go through in their life. Because I mean, just on my experience last night, being in Granite City, and I really don't know Granite, and I appreciate the police around here because I'm gonna tell you what, I was really out there and for a couple of the homeless people, you know, because I mean they were there for me, you know, and that's why Granite's, you know, that's why, because, you know, I hate to say that I'm out here like this and that, but you know, I mean, it is what it is. But last night was a very traumatic event in my life because I left East St. Louis yesterday for the simple fact I didn't want to be down there, Edgemont, because that's where, you know, that's my old neighborhood. So. Wow,
you from Edgemont? No, you that's your stomping ground.
No, that's where I lived. That was where my home.
Oh. How long did you stay in Edgemont? And what part of Edgemont?
8022 Church Lane.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not gonna say the whole address straight up, and I didn't want to stay down there for the simple fact of, you know, people are just acting funny, you know, and people act funny, and it's not that I feel uncomfortable. I was in a good place, but I still had no freaking fucking idea that the damn buses were going to be running. I mean, that's the whole thing. Christmas, it was the same thing, but whatever your question was, it just boils down to, you know, I don't judge people for who they are and what they do and whatever it is, you know, I just don't. I don't for the simple fact of, I don't want anybody to judge me. You know, the norm that I usually get is just the way that I feel, and the way that I feel is usually, you know, what I put off, and it's usually anger, you know, but anyway, yeah, but as far as whatever the question was here, how many people you share this video to, because I think this is going to cost money.
I appreciate you sharing with us and sitting down with us, and if you have anything in closing for people who may be looking for you, people may be missing you, people may be wondering where you are, how you doing, now's the time in the closing. You can say whatever it is you need to say to those people.
Well, I mean, they can hit me on Facebook, because, I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, my kids, I call them. I don't have my phone. My phone's at my ex-husband's. So, I mean, you know, I stay away from people and from my kids because I don't want to be bad energy, you know, negative energy, because usually that's when it is, and it's when it happens, you know. Yes. And when I feel vulnerable and I feel upset, then I go to, you know, I'm not going to my kids. I don't do that. And I am upset, but, you know, that's because I stay away. And it's only because of damn I can't get to, all I'm trying to do is get to Collinsville. Fuck. It's not that far from here, but damn. I rode my bike on Christmas to see my buddy, and this is how serious I am. I rode my bike, and I did just get about half an hour ago, so don't blame me, I'm serious. I rode my bike all the way from Granite City, or all the way from Collinsville, all the way here to Granite City. Christmas, or was it Christmas Eve? And then slept outside. The day before Christmas Eve, slept outside down here in Granite. Met up with him the next day, which wasn't his problem. Met up with him the next day, and thankfully, that for people in Granite City and the police too, because, you know, I have the fear of the police. I just don't like them. I mean, look good in uniform, maybe this, that. I don't know nothing about that. So what I'm saying is that, you know, when a person gets stuck, like for real, like I'm really literally stuck, but I generally don't believe people. But anyway, it is what it is. The same thing happened to me on Christmas. So I just got to stick through this, and hopefully, oh God, hopefully that I don't have any thoughts of suicide, because I suffer from that. And, you know, but as far as any advice or anything, like I said, I was scared to death last night. I was scared to fucking death. I didn't know what to do. I mean, I'm talking about, everybody kept saying the gun's going to start popping off. They're going to start popping off. I didn't hear not a one. Not a one in East St. Louis before I left out that motherfucker. And usually they go all year round. Motherfuckers around here was like, oh, they're going to start popping off. You know, them guns are going to start popping. And I'm like, what the fuck? And that was a major event. That was a major event for me, seriously. I'm traumatized at anything from that.
Yes.
I'm serious. I'm serious. I even went after that. I'm serious. I was down on the motherfucking steps, like I wasn't trying to look. All I heard was pump, 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 pump. And I'm like, where the fuck am I at? Because everybody said it's gonna happen. I'm like, oh no. But I don't know.
We appreciate you sitting down, talking with us, and thank you for your time, and hopefully things will get better for you. Thank you.
Right.